I open the door. They're already knocking the fire down in the hallway. So I crawl into the leg of a firefighter and into the face of a 9-year-old.
Welcome to Stars of Service. I'm your host, Brian Christensen. One thing about serving is that once it's in your blood, you keep going. And if it's something you have a passion for, whatever the job might be, you want to continue to serve. Whether if you are on a police force, fire department, maybe even the news. I mean, it could be anything really. One of my good friends, Bill Southard, I'm going to bring him in right now, who works for the Charlotte Fire Department, the Huntersville Fire Department, Army veteran. What else do you have there? Sorry.
Dad,
Yeah. Oh, of course.
proud dad,
Very
proud
great
husband.
husband and
Mhm.
everything else.
Thank you.
You have served for so many years in so many different capacities. Why, how, and give us all the secrets.
Why? Why not? I mean, it's a wonderful life to be able to serve. To be a firefighter is probably one of the best professions there are out there. If you think about it, I get paid to go make someone's life better. I see them on their worst day, and when I leave, it's a little better than when I arrived. And there's nothing better than that.
Right. When you were in the Army, let's go. Whoops. When you were in the Army, how did that happen? That transition from Army to firefighter, or were you doing it already?
No, I was not. I mean, when I was younger, I had the nickname in my household as Fire Dog. I was always interested in being a firefighter and stuff.
Not a pyro, but a
No,
fire.
no,
Yeah.
not at all. I remember there was a Christmas day. Gosh, I was so little, and I got a plastic SCBA, which is the air bottle and helmet for
Mhm.
Christmas.
Right.
And my neighbor's house had a chimney fire. It's like bam, bam. I opened the gift. 30 minutes later, it's burning, and I put it on. We don't have the photo anymore. I can't find it. We were looking
man.
for it. We lost my dad this year. We were trying to
I'm
find
so
it.
sorry.
So I had on these rubber boots, a green long outdoor winter coat, this plastic mask, a plastic bottle, Station 51, from the old fire show, and a helmet. And these firefighters are over there working on this fire, and I show up. I literally walk right up to the fire truck,
On the job training.
and they did not ignore me. They did not blow me off. They welcomed me. They helped me put stuff away. I helped them put stuff
Wow.
away, and I was like, "Well, that's pretty cool." They were really nice to me.
The brotherhood started
Yeah,
right then.
started right then and there.
What is it about that service though that, how do you turn that on? What is that? That you see that some people have it and other people you can see that might be more of a selfish thing and
Mhm.
whatever else, but some different drives. But what is that about that I want to give my best for someone else?
I don't know. It's something inside, and my son has it, to where if we see somebody anywhere, I just it just happens. You're like, "Oh, that person needs help."
Right.
Um, I think it was what Mr. Rogers has said something a long time ago that says, "Look for the helpers," right?
Right.
For some reason, I'm just a helper. So I could be at church and I could tell. I have an ability to see when someone needs something.
Right.
My wife, she works for a church, and that's her career. She's a church administrator. She has an ability to see folks that need that positive conversation, and she
Right.
goes over and has it. There's not a stranger that she's ever come across.
Yeah.
That's how she is. But for me, it's like something inside me that says that person needs help. Even if I'm just hanging over there in the area, there are going to be times where I have walked over to somebody and just hung out for a few minutes and then walked away, and they never even knew I was there.
Is
You
it
just get
because
that
of like
feeling.
empathy or what's going on?
Yeah, and the willing and there's a drive to make things right or make
Right.
things better. And I think a lot of public servants have that. They might be afraid to talk about it or even mention it or don't even understand it, but I think that they have that ability to see and then the desire to go to work.
Right.
And you see it a lot in the fire service.
Well, I'm going to time travel a little bit
Okay.
further back where you were wearing the Army uniform.
Mhm.
Okay. And then, fast forward, now you're, firefighter. You're carrying all kinds of equipment on a daily basis. You know, your entire uniform, all of the protective jackets and whatever else. You're carrying all of that, but you're also carrying everything that you've carried throughout the years
Mhm.
while serving.
Right.
How do you maintain that strength? How do you maintain, yeah, just your
Right.
typical day?
It's funny, I had to figure that out. So and I'll explain it to you how I explained it to my son. So, my son wanted to get into the fire service. He graduated from high school just last, last year. So, my kid, when he graduated high school, his last year of high school, he put himself through the fire academy on his own.
Wow.
So, he was doing dual enrollment
Yeah.
and then graduated from high school 1 week. The second week, graduated from the fire academy, then went into EMT course, and then graduated in the fall from EMT.
Right.
So, we knew, okay, fire's gonna be a thing. So
Runs in the
I had
family.
I had to have that talk, and I said to him, I said, "Look, not a lot of people in the fire service or anybody's going to talk to you about this
Right.
because we just kind of shut that down. Think of life and your service as a 5-gallon bucket. As you see certain situations and you see certain events, you see death, you see destruction, you see people just not doing really good things.
Right.
It gets added to your bucket. You never want that bucket to overfill. So there are going to be times where you arrive on a fire truck and you're going to get there 10 minutes later than everyone else. And it's a bad scene. But they don't necessarily need you to go up to that scene and look at it and experience it. You can
Right.
help the others as they pull back from the scene.
Right.
You need to take advantage of that so that your bucket doesn't fill with unnecessary images, tragedy, and that kind of stuff. And you just got to keep an eye on it. And when you feel that it's starting to creep up and you feel it in certain ways, blood pressure, um, shortness of attention, shortness of patience, you tend to snap a little bit quicker. Realize that and then take a break. Like take some time off, go do things you want to do,
Right.
that you have fun doing. He likes to ride his dirt bike. Go do that. And I need you to promise me you're going to do that in your next career because I did not.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of issues. I had a lot of problems and I had a lot of events that would trigger, I'm not going to use the term PTSD because sometimes I think it's a little overused.
Right.
I like to think a lot of the issues we see nowadays is a result of traumatic brain injuries
Right.
from things that, even things that we would, that you shoot in the infantry could cause a TBI pretty quickly.
Right.
That compiled with the other stuff, that creates a messy, soupy, psychological mess, and you just got to work through it. And I've had friends that have had a hard time with it.
One of the things that I'm obviously thankful for you guys. I mean, you're first responders. You're there. You are combating the fire. You're putting it out. You're making sure everyone is okay. You all create that fire line. Well, police also, and we as journalists can only get so close. And I'm thinking that I don't want to see the things that you have.
Mhm.
And I have wondered how, especially, you know, you might have served beforehand, and you may have just had some really horrible sights and everything during the job. And I'm just like, how do they maintain all of that strength, all of everything that's wearing them down? I'm so amazed by you guys.
And I think it's the positive aspects of the job of being able to help people
Right.
that, um, just a simple showing up around Thanksgiving for an older female who lives alone at home and you're changing her smoke alarm. I know it sounds lame and
Yeah,
firefighters like,
no,
hey, that's not what I signed up for. But that impact and that smile and then talking to them. We serve an amazing community. They they wrap their arms around us. There's not a day. I just worked Saturday in Huntersville. Worked a shift this Saturday in Huntersville. We went to lunch at a restaurant. We said we're going to support a restaurant this morning instead of having food at the station. So we go to a restaurant. We walk in. We get to the table. We get a call. So we leave. We clear that call. We go back. We sit down. They laugh. We order food. The food arrives. We get another call.
oh no.
They collect it up. We leave. We come back. We're not going to give up. It
This
might
is-
be a
this is
three.
comedy.
It might be a 3 o'clock lunch, but we're not giving it up. So when we come back, they create a whole nother meal for us. They give it to us, and then when we're done, they're like, "It's on the house." That
Oh,
happens
wow.
a lot, where people Grocery shop, we go to ring out. Groceries been paid for by somebody you don't know.
That's
And it happens at the dining room table a lot. And so our community supports us, and that's what helps us. It's part of the healing process, I believe.
that's
Not that I'm asking for that,
nope.
because you really feel
I don't
uncomfortable
have
sometimes.
I don't have lunch here.
Yeah,
Sorry. Or snacks.
so we have a rule: if we eat for free at a restaurant, that waitress gets a really good tip.
Good.
So that's our rule.
I wanted to know more about what you did when you were serving in the Army.
So I was 11 Bravo, 11 Bang Bang. So I was infantry. Yeah, I served in the infantry in the Army. Went to basic, gave everything there at Fort Benning, and that was at Fort Benning for a little while.
Right.
And then kind of was like 11 X-ray when I went in. So I ended up being
11 X-ray is
so they do a lot of X-ray and special ops and
Okay.
infantry. So it means that the letter designator can change. They're
Right.
going to use you however they want to use you.
okay.
They use a lot of 18 X-ray for special operations. So I went mechanized and light infantry. So I served in both. So I got used to carrying a lot of equipment on my back,
Right.
kind of like I do in the fire department.
Uh-huh.
So it's nothing compared. Fire department does not compare to being a grunt carrying equipment.
And how is your back? How are your knees
My back
now?
is destroyed. Yeah, my back is bad. I take medicine twice a day
Man,
for
I'm sorry.
back stuff. But I do that all through the fire department. I don't
Right.
through Charlotte. I try not to become a burden on the VA. When I first started, I got out in 2006.
Wait,
the VA didn't really work so well for
Hold
me.
on.
So
You don't want to be a burden on the V.
correct.
You can't
Yeah.
say that.
I know.
You can't
Yeah.
say that.
It's just I don't have the patience because I'm a helper, and when I go in there, I don't see a lot of
You have to be
so,
patient.
yeah.
They will. But when you said that, I'm like, wow, no, dude, you have done so much. You can't be a burden.
I know. I've heard that, but everything's going really well. I'm being well taken care of. The city of Charlotte medical benefits are amazing.
Okay.
So I'm good to go.
So one thing I did ask you right before the show started is how many in between Charlotte and Huntersville, how many firefighters are previous veterans?
I'm going to take a swag at this. I'm going to say like 25%, maybe a little bit less. I know we have a lot of Air Force veterans just because of the mobility command here in
Yeah.
Charlotte. There's a lot of folks that do both of those.
Right.
We do have some folks right now that are activated. I know in Huntersville and Charlotte, there's a guy he works at both agencies with me. A lot of people in Huntersville work in Charlotte. He's deployed right now too, and he's a Marine. So
What is that, when you know each other and you know that either one you have served already, or two, especially for those who are wearing both uniforms. What is that brotherhood, that sisterhood like there at the station?
I will say the fire service is like a blue collar military. So it's almost like working with a bunch of plumbers that have been in the military. It's interesting. So the fire service is absolutely a blue collar job.
Right.
Everyone there that I work with has some type of specialty. If I need to ask a question about a car, electricity, plumbing, grass cutting, they're all there.
Right.
And then when you ask them the question, next thing you know, they're helping you and doing it with you. So
Yeah.
that's a I've learned so much in my 16 years in the fire service. Is
Right.
just so much, so many smart, hardworking people.
With the firehouse and working different firehouses and
Mhm.
everything, how many friends do you have?
I have a lot of friends. Yeah,
How many,
I really
how many
do.
best friends? How many brothers, sisters do you have?
Well,
within that service?
we're like real siblings. So we
Yeah.
fight, we argue, we get on each other's nerves. We might not talk for a little while, and then next thing you know, we're back to being it.
Right.
A lot of us know each other's lives. We know each other's family. We were going on a call Saturday, and I'm in the back, old man in the back, and they're like, "Oh, there's your wife." We're going emergency traffic, and then she pulls over and turns her, hazard lights on, and then we're going to a serious medical call, and I didn't even hear him because I'm old and I'm in the back and it's loud. So they were like, "Hey, we saw your wife." I was like, they know my wife, they know her car, they
Right.
know my kid's car, so we're close like that, and that's something that really helps, and that's what I was looking for after the military. That's
Right.
why I found myself in the fire service.
It is funny how when you hit that right spot, that place where not only you belong, but you've got the support around you, and you didn't even know you needed it, especially for everyone who kind of does the same thing, and you're all speaking the same language. And it's just that um I don't know, it's better than the kumbaya. It's like
Mhm.
this person has my back. And there's nothing that can be that is stronger than that. That's why I was trying to get with the friends and the best friends and
Yeah.
the and brothers.
We call the kitchen table in the fire service the
Right.
table of honesty.
Right.
So if you have a bad call and you screw up on that call, they're gonna tell you at that table because you're gonna come back, sit down, have coffee.
But you're gonna come back strong.
You're gonna come back. They beat you down and build you up while loving you at the same time.
Right.
And you have to understand that. You gotta have thick skin. You got to give it right back, and then you do have to learn from it. You can't be too. If you are not gonna admit your own faults,
Right.
no one's gonna be your friend or your coworker. And that's what I love about it
Right.
because they're not gonna cut you slack.
With that, you're working with them and, you know, you're at a restaurant and you guys get called away. What is that like to go from A to Z and nothing in between and just, hey, this is the the whatever hit the fan, so now we've gotta go 90 miles an hour
Mhm.
in our minds, in our body to catch up.
That's what I
Is
look
that
forward to every day.
okay.
I like
How do
that.
you maintain to be able to, switch gears so fast, I guess?
I don't know. It just imagine. I guess the biggest is waking up from sleep,
Right.
right? So you lay down in bed, and it's just like being in the infantry. When I went to bed on the ground
Right.
in a sleeping bag, I would be somewhat dressed. I would know where all my stuff was, so I could pull it together with my eyes closed.
Basic training, I
Yep.
remember this.
Can't turn a light on.
Yeah.
Not even a red light. You have to be able to get dressed and pack up and get out. And so I do the same thing in the fire service. I know where everything is around my bed. I know I have a path to the fire truck. You know, jump in my Crocs, go to the truck, jump into my pants. There's a
You guys wear
whole
Crocs?
path. Hey, around the fire station, you might.
Are they issued?
No, they're cheap Crocs. Yeah, but oh yeah, I'm
Are
old
they
guy. So.
fireproof?
No, we do not wear them on the scene. You wear them in the station. Or I'll have running shoes out
Right,
or something
yeah.
if I'm gonna get on the treadmill before I leave in the morning. But, you just have that whole path.
Right.
And, it just shocks sometimes. The lights come on, there's a tone, there's a voice that tells you where you're going, and within 30 seconds, you are on the way somewhere, and that could be addicting.
We're watching a little bit of video that, you guys have shot with drones over fires. There was a boat fire earlier. Um, you know, wherever we always show up in normally because of distance and everything else, the flames are normally out and we see what is after the fact of where you guys are kind of just, you know, I will never say standing around. You're probably talking about whatever fire just happened or whatever the case is. But the thing that I'm always just so impressed is the professionalism that, you know, they're caked with, you know, soot, fire, just
Drywall
dirty
dust.
faces.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All over their faces. And they're just as professional as if they just showed up to the scene, like no big deal, and it's one of those things where I am just, I really look up to you guys.
Yeah, there's a saying from a chief, I don't know who it was, probably New York City. That's where we get a lot of our quotes from was, "You don't see a garbage man turn the corner, see a bunch of trash cans and get excited." So if you turn the corner and you see fire blowing out a window,
Right.
don't get excited. That's your job. Just go
Yeah.
do your job.
Okay, I'm gonna get down in the weeds here a little bit. You guys have to be the first responders. You are the first responders for some really hard, well, some hard days. Um, what have been recently? What's been a hard day for you?
Hmm.
And
Well, fortunately,
and how do you get through it?
Charlotte, I manage a whole division now, so I get my ride time mainly
Right.
in Huntersville, so I don't get that experience as much in Charlotte. But I mean, aside from medicals and serious car crashes and stuff like that,
Right.
um, we've had some some fires recently in Huntersville where our folks have made graps, like actually remove people from the fire and save their lives. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a positive to me.
Yeah.
Um, I would say when I first started, this is a long time ago, about 12 years, 13, 14 years ago, on a Sunday night, I woke up to that alert for working house fires, mainly a mile down the street. We get to the scene. A mother meets me at the right door and says, "My baby is in the house."
Oh gosh.
We split our crew. Crew went in the front. I went in what they call vent enter search, like force the window, come in, and I said, "Hey, I run into you in the hallway.
Right.
Don't go past me."
Yeah.
I go into the bedroom. I reach around and I feel a crib, what I think is a crib, and it's very hot in there. And I'm reaching,
You
I'm
can't
flipping.
see.
I can't see it all, but I feel what I think is a crib. So I go in, I flip a mattress, what I think is a mattress, and I don't find anything. Search the whole house, get my glove stuck on a TV. It kind of melts into the TV a little bit, so I have a chunk of the TV stuck to my glove still.
Oh my
I go to
gosh.
the door, I open the door. They're already knocking the fire down in the hallway. So I crawl into the leg of a firefighter and into the face of a 9-year-old who has passed. And I'm thinking, crib, baby, 9-year-old. Unfortunately, we lost that young man. School was Monday. He had a house all ready for his first day of school and he was an honor student for international studies. Um, And he, I guess, heard the fire and had gotten up and walked into the hallway and didn't make it. Of course, mom calls him baby.
Yeah.
This is her baby. And what I thought was a crib was the headboard. And he was sleeping at the foot of it was hot,
Right.
hot night. He was sleeping at the foot of the window that I came in. So I landed actually on the mattress. I did not realize that. I did not realize that it could have been a kid that was mobile
Right.
because I thought it was a baby.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I'm kind of kicking myself for, right? Like, man, maybe I could have been faster. What if I didn't split the crew? What if we went down the hallway together and I didn't come in the window and maybe we would have cooled
But
the
you can't
house
do that.
faster? I know. But you do have to kind of do that. You
Right.
have to run that scenario through your head. And you've got to remember, I need to file that away
Yeah.
because a baby could be a 9-year-old, a baby could be an adult,
Right.
right? A baby could be your spouse. And just need to have that in my head.
Right.
So when I'm using one sense, which is feel, and not hearing or seeing, maybe I can put the puzzle together correctly.
Right.
That's probably the worst call I've been on. I've been on a lot of fatality calls,
Yeah.
a lot of bad car accidents. I've been at more fatal fires since. As a public information officer now, I represent families that have line of duty deaths. That's become a little bit of I don't want to say a niche for me, but I get asked to go around to multiple states to do that.
Fortunately, you're good at it.
And I'm the PIO for the National Fallen Firefighter Weekend every May in Maryland. So, that's me representing the memory, the honor, and the selfless sacrifice. I use that term a lot. The selfless sacrifice of that responder. They lay down their life for someone else. That's what helps me.
Right.
And that's what gets me through every day.
What is something that you took from the military into this world that you're in?
Leadership, understanding that you can't lead without doing what you expect them to do.
Right.
You have to be a perfect example of it. Also, micromanagement. I hate micromanagement. I can't stand it. You have to allow your
Yeah.
folks to succeed and fail. And you have to let them make those decisions. I did not do that very well as a parent. I tried to make a lot of decisions for my son as he got older. My wife pulled me back and it's like, man, you talk about that at work, but you're doing it at
But
home.
he's an Eagle Scout.
He is. He is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did something-
Despite my
You
worst
did-
efforts,
You
he's an
did
Eagle Scout.
something right there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, a lot of it. He has a really good mom too.
Yeah.
Right. Mom was a big part of that. But yeah, I mean, he's got a drive that's unbelievable. I
Right.
mean, there are times where downtime, I'm wondering what he's doing. He's changing the carburetor on his motorcycle. He's changing oil in my wife's truck or car. So yeah, he's a good kid.
So this is your time to be the PSA here. So what can you tell young minds that are about to either go into the military, into the fire service, whatever the case is? What does Bill Souther, dad, firefighter, soldier, tell them?
We need more people to serve their country, both in the military and in public service. We've seen a dramatic decrease in applications for the fire service, for law enforcement, and for EMS.
Right.
We're seeing folks that are like, really, you want to just go and help somebody?
Right.
Honestly, we get that question. So we've seen a dramatic decrease. And we just need those that work. If you are a military, currently serving in the military, and you want to work in public safety, you're going to see that same team environment, brotherhood, sisterhood, dependability on each other that a lot of veterans miss when they get out. We have that. We have that both in EMS, fire, and police.
And they can call.
They go to that agency's
Right.
website, and the police department are constantly doing testing in academies. And Charlotte Charlotte Fire is starting to do the same. It's the best job in the world. Pension, great benefits, great salary, and just an awesome ability to help those in need.
Bill, thank you so much for coming on. And
Absolutely.
I knew when I first met you at a Huntersville fire, probably like 10 years ago,
Seems like a
like
lot, doesn't it?
I need to keep up with this guy. You and all of the firefighters of both agencies, of all the area agencies too, especially those who have served. You guys are stars of service, and I thank you all so much.
I get to work with some amazing people. The ability to, it sucks that I can't tell their stories every day. There's way too many stories to tell. They are amazing.
Bring them on then.
Hey,
Yeah.
good idea.
Well, thanks again. Thanks again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brian.
You've been watching Stars of Service. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.